Hi, this is Garvey Campbell and you are watching Carnival Network. And if some of you have been watching closely, you might remember this video.
I'll tell you from a DJ's point of view. I'll tell you from my point of view.
Yes.
As a DJ. London DJs tend to play the same stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. You get a lot of fets where people try to work with each other. DJs more likely to work against each other. Everybody wants to play that big set of the new stuff. Nobody wants to remember the last 10, 15 years of Soca, 20 years. Look how long Soca's been going.
Yes.
Before me, before you.
Right, so in this video, we're going to be dealing with that topic. Why are DJs playing so much of the same tunes? Okay, so the first reason is that too many DJs are getting music from the same place. Now, back in the day, you'd have DJs who would be involved in the music industry. They would be playing on radio. They would be sometimes producing albums or helping to produce albums for artists as well. But they'd also be traveling a lot back to the islands, to different islands, going down, meeting the artists and getting hold of new and interesting music from new and interesting artists. These days, with the digital age, getting hold of new music is a lot easier. It can be done online, it can be sent via email. However, the conduits that are open to a lot of these DJs mean that many of them are using the same place to get a lot of their music. And this means that you're going to get a lot of those DJs playing, unfortunately, the same tune because the selection is limited by what is coming through that channel of music. Number two, there are a small amount of DJs out there who are relying on the response that they've seen certain tunes get from the audience, whether that's from their own playing or watching someone else play certain tunes. And what that means is that obviously means that when there's a lot of DJs out there who identify that certain tunes get the crowds riled up, they're more likely to try and play those tunes. Number three occurs when you have more than one DJ playing a set. DJ number one plays his set, plays a lot of the big tunes, gets a great response from the audience, but the person who's playing next doesn't get a chance to see that performance or that DJ playing because they're not actually at the event. That DJ may go in, have only seen perhaps maybe 50% of the previous DJ's set. He goes in with his own game plan and ends up playing tunes that have already been heard by the audience literally half an hour to an hour before. Number five is down to time. So if a DJ has got a reduced amount of time to play out in front of an audience, it means that they're really going to be focused on trying to create a massive impact in a short space of time. And one of the quickest ways of doing that is to play some of the biggest tunes for that year that are out there at the moment. So if there are DJs out there who have that goal and that restriction in mind, what it means is that many of them are going to end up settling in on the same types of tunes to play at that venue or at that fete. So you go to one fete, you go to another fete, and you end up hearing the same tunes because each of those DJs have a short amount of time to make a really big impression. So they rely on the music to do that. And the final one is if that DJ doesn't have a game plan or an idea of the journey that he wants to take the audience on with their set. So a lot of the time DJs will have to put aside a certain amount of time to, practice, put together sets, check which tunes go well together, and perhaps sometimes construct a series of tunes that they want to play out at a particular event. If they haven't done this, it means that they're playing, just off the cuff while they're there. And some DJs are really good at this, but it does require a thorough knowledge of all of the tunes that you've got and how they go together. If this hasn't been done, it means that they're playing off the cuff. And if you're playing off the cuff and you want to get a quick response, again, this goes back to you playing some of the tunes that get the biggest response with the least effort. So this is one of the other reasons why you'll hear certain DJs playing the same tunes. So what are some of the effects from this? So one of the effects is that many of these big tunes, they only last like a year. So the big tune will come out, it'll be played everywhere, it'll be heard everywhere. You may even hear it twice or three times sometimes in a fete, but by the end of the year, in most cases, that's it, it's done. And the reason why it's just been played to death, it's been rinsed. Another outcome of this is that parties start to sound the same wherever you go. So pretty much, you know, everywhere you're hearing the same music over and over again from different DJs who really should have their own way of playing, maybe some different obscure tunes that they favor over other tunes. But if every DJ is playing exactly the same kind of tune, you know, the same big tune to get that big crowd response, then what happens is that after a while, many of them start to sound the same. The other thing that follows from that last outcome is that the audience now ends up starting to go to events and, you know, almost expecting what they're going to hear, and that's not a good sign. Certain times you want to hear tunes that we haven't heard before. You know, we want to get those tunes through the DJ. So one of the downsides as well with this happening is that the audience they lose some of their enthusiasm sometimes, because they know exactly what they're going to hear when they're going to go into an event. I've even heard some people, you know, be able to listen to a tune and they're able to say, you know, I bet you they're going to follow up with this tune. And lo and behold, that's what happens. They follow up with exactly the same tune, you know, as the person who has guessed it has said to me. Some of the wider effects and issues with this is that the public starts to get a very filtered idea of what music is coming out of the Caribbean, because they've not been exposed to a wide range of the music that's coming from the islands or from a particular island. And it's because a lot of the lesser known tunes have perhaps been overshadowed by the big tunes that are consistently being played out. As a result of this, you know, many tunes come and go every single year. And, you know, I get this all the time where people say, you know, I'll play them a tune from 2011, 2010, 2013. They say, I've never heard that tune, but it's a wicked tune. You know, is it new? And I tell them, no, it's not new. It's a tune that's like a couple of years old. But the reason why they don't know about it is, unfortunately, they haven't been to the island to hear that tune. And that tune, you know, wherever they are, whether it's in the United States or, you know, in Europe or anywhere, that tune just hasn't been played to them by any of the DJs. So as a result, there's really good music that's coming and going and just people never hear about. One of the other long-term effects of this is that, you know, music artists are obviously looking out for what people like, what people are listening to, what people want from them. So if you've got DJs playing a finite amount of music from a finite amount of, you know, whether it's well-known artists or the same artists, you know, over and over again, this means that, you know, the musicians themselves who are creating all of the music for us get a very skewed and warped idea of what will get their tune out there and like the most. Because obviously their only way of measuring it is looking at what's being played by most of the DJs, and then from there looking at the audience response as well. Now, if they're big tunes, they're going to get a big response, but this doesn't necessarily mean that the tune that is getting that great response is the only thing out there that will get that response. It basically means that by DJs playing a lot of the same tunes in many different places, the musicians get an inaccurate idea of what we, the audience, want to hear from them. So, what's the solution? If you're a DJ that fall into this category, then what needs to happen is you need to be a little bit braver with the music that you're putting out there. Back in the day, there wouldn't be an event that I would go to where I didn't hear something that I'd never heard before. And it wasn't always a tune that was just brought out that year. Sometimes it was a tune that was like 2 or 3 years old, you know, and I'd have to go to the DJ and find out what tune is that, because you'd go out and look at all the latest releases, you wouldn't be able to find it. So this comes down to DJs being a little bit braver, having a little bit more faith in the music, you know, and just realize obviously there's a wide, diverse amount of music that comes out of the Caribbean. From the slow tempos all the way up to the fast, crazy paced, high paced soca music. You know, it means that you don't have to necessarily mix an event or your set with other types of music to get different effects and different atmospheres for your audience. You can actually look at Caribbean music as a whole and find within there everything that you need to take an audience on any kind of journey that you want. It just takes a little bit of work, a little bit of investigation, and you know, you just have to be brave with it. You know, yes, you're going to get situations where you play a tune and it doesn't give you the right response that you want or that you're looking for, but that's part of the learning process. You know, when I went out raving back in the day, that was something that I used to get a lot more. Sometimes they would try a tune, it wouldn't get the best response from the crowd, but that's part and parcel of the game. You know, we rely on our DJs as our main connection with what is hot out there coming from our artists. And if you don't give us a great diverse amount of music, and you're not brave with your selection of music, then all that happens is that actually has an effect right the way through to what we see as being out there as Caribbean music, and also what the artists see as what we are, you know, most receptive to. So I hope I haven't gone on too much, but that's to give you an idea of why you'll go to some places, you know, and then go to somewhere else and then hear almost pretty much exactly the same selection of music, even though it's played by two different DJs in two different places. This goes out to no one in particular, and this is just some positive criticism coming from myself. Me, I love Caribbean music. I love our DJs, and I especially love the guys who are creating the music, and I really do want Caribbean music to do really well. So hope you've enjoyed the video. This is Garvey Campbell, and you are watching Carnival Network. We'll see you next time. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Carnival Network, on Twitter at CarnivalNet, and check out our website, carnivalnetwork.co.uk.